the role of uncertainty in life then. So I've got a couple of descriptions and things for you here. I've brought in COVID as well because obviously it's prominent with what's going on at the moment, and so on and so on and so on. The current COVID-19 pandemic has heightened uncertainty over the economy, employment, finances, relationships, and of course physical and mental health. Now, I don't want to overplay that slide whatsoever, but it has heightened uncertainty in the economy, employment, finances, relationships, physical and mental health. I'm not sure you could fit much more in there, to be honest. Now, I know the role of uncertainty plays, and if you guys have been on any of my change sessions that I've ran or watched any on the YouTube channel, you will know one of the biggest reasons we don't like change is the perceived loss of control and a lack of gestalt, a lack of balance, a lack of equilibrium. And what those two things both do is they give us uncertainty. So they knock us into an uncertain phase, and we've got a perceived loss of control about we can't do anything about it, or we perceive we can't do anything about it, and we feel out of balance. Okay, and this is why uncertainty knocks these things: employment, finances, relationships, physical and mental health. And in all honesty, I know lots of people obviously have been very, very poorly and worse with the pandemic. If you take the rest of the country that maybe haven't been physically poorly, or only been lightly physically poorly, the mental health impact is massive, which then impacts on relationships. It could then impact on your employment or your finances, and so on and so on and so on. Okay, so really quite important to make this point. Uncertainty generally in life we don't like. Add in COVID, exponentially worse. Okay, exponentially worse. Okay, the role of uncertainty in life. As human beings, we crave security. We want to feel safe and have a sense of control over our lives and well-being. So again, that comes back to that control factor that I mentioned with Gestalt. So that sense of control, that perceived sense of control that we have, that's what affects it. Fear and uncertainty can leave you feeling stressed, anxious, powerless over the direction of your life. It can drain you emotionally and trap you in a downward spiral of endless what ifs. We're going to look at that in a moment, and worst case scenarios about what tomorrow may bring. Okay, now I know there's one or two people on this call that look at that and go, I don't do that. Yeah, so I know there are people like, sorry to, I don't want to give you a big head, Pete, but I know that me and you have conversations about this, Pete, and, you're the type of chap that kind of goes, well, do you know what? I'm not going to go down that route. I'm gonna go, well, what can I do? Rather than actually, what am I powerless to do? And there might be one or two other looking at these, again, I know Jack is also very glass half full, John Donnelly there, and so on and so on and so on. Okay, so there's a number of you that might look at that and kind of go, I don't do that a lot of the time. And if you don't, fantastic, absolutely brilliant. But if you do occasionally, it's okay as well. It's just a matter of catching it. And of course, as you know, my sessions, I've got some tips for you to take away today on how we can manage this and prevent it and deal with it and all that type of stuff. But it's okay. But just look at the powerful words that are in this for some people, because unfortunately, some people aren't glass half full, are they? And they aren't, do you know what, tomorrow's a new day, or make your bed and get into a routine and tick off something. Some people aren't like that, and they struggle to be like that. It might be conditioning, it might be the way they've talked to themselves for a long time, it might be that they let other people walk through their mind with their dirty feet. Whichever way it is, we can change this, but sometimes very hard for people, because remember, those emotions are very, very powerful, those feelings. 300 times more powerful than morphine, some of your chemicals in your system. So some really serious stuff in there, okay? But it can make you feel stressed, anxious, powerless over the direction of your life. It can drain you emotionally and trap you in a down spiral of endless what ifs or worst case scenarios, okay? Whereas I quite like to think if I have a bad day, then tomorrow's going to be better. Okay, that's the kind of trigger I use. Bad day today. Do you know what? It was awful. Tomorrow's going to be great, rather than tomorrow's going to be worse than that. So it is a psychological change, but obviously I've got some things for you to take away with that.